Welcome to the Indian Silicon Valley podcast. I'm your host, Jivraj, and today I have with me the crypto marvel of the country. Join me in welcoming Jaynti Kanani, the co founder and CEO of Polygon Technologies, previously known as MATIC Network. Thank you so much, Jaynti, for joining me. I'm absolutely honored to be hosting it today.
Thank you, Jivraj, for having me.
Great to hear that, Jayanti. And I'm all the more excited for this conversation because the show is called Indian Silicon Valley, which is based on the thesis that India will be the next frontier for global technology. And you are one person, and Polygon is one such company which has completely proven that hypothesis. So I want to dive deeper into how you've gone about building Polygon, but I want to start with your personal traits that led you here, because it's very interesting how you talk about starting Polygon, right? Matic previously, in terms of having built side projects, having that curiosity, the love for building, and how you talk about being focused and starting small if you have to, but starting more importantly, right? So with that context, if you can take us down memory lane, help us understand what led you to starting Matic, what was your thought process like, and how did you personify your love for building? I think that would be a great precursor to the conversation.
Sure. Thank you. So in 2011, I joined one company called Persistent System, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I joined that, I didn't know about startup, building products, raising money, nothing sort of that. It was a service company like TCS, Infosys. So there was no you are the frog in a well, right? Like you don't know what is going on around the world. You just thinking about like internal politics, people politics. Okay, the guy from the another cubicle got the visa, US visa from the company sponsor, and you didn't get those kind of things. You are basically focusing on a small things of life. Your chair is not good enough, comfortable. Your HR is doing something else. You are not getting some reimbursement from your HR team. So those things basically you focus on those things when you start, right? When you start things, because you never think about, because there is no people surrounding you who can who are kind of thinking big. Basically, that's the issue. But there is one guy. He was my mentor at the time, and he was very much into the startups and hacker news. If you know news.ycombinator.com, is a hacker news where everyone post something every day, and you go there, you can read multiple things a day. And that led me to in kind of a startup world, right? Like how people are building new things, competing with the enterprises and big companies like Persistence, TCS, and everything. Like like they're just kind of building things for other clients, right? Not for the people, or not really products.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I got curious. I also built multiple projects, side projects, by the way, in JavaScript. I was a developer, so it was easy for me to kind of start something. And then I joined a startup called Function Space, which was led by Sumit Manyar, the CEO of Rupik right now. And then after that, I joined housing.com, right? And when I joined housing.com, everyone was kind of like 99% people are from IIT. And I was like very few who kind of not from IIT, like it's just an unknown college. But the change is the perspective of people, right? Like people change around me. They were thinking a little bit bigger than it was previously. I was with people, right? So that also gave me some confidence that if these people are doing, I can also do that, right? Simple as that. And what happened is that in late 2017, I was also doing multiple side projects at housing.com, and then got into the Ethereum Bitcoin, because I was building this project called Game of Theories, where you can post your theories for the TV series, and if you like that, you get the money. Like if you're right, you get the money. So I wanted to integrate a payment rails I had like multiple options like Razorpay, Stripe, Paytm, PayPal, but I didn't want to establish the company, and they were also charging a huge money for the cut commissions. So I thought, like, let me look at the Bitcoin. People are talking about Bitcoin and the payment thing, and let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
But what happened is interesting. I got more interested in Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, crypto, and then I ditched my side project and went full time into the crypto world. I left housing.com, went there, went into crypto, and doing freelancing as well, because obviously, like, I was doing freelancing, trading, etc. And then there was a problem called network congestion, right? Where network congestion happened on in Ethereum because of the CryptoKitty.
Yeah.
So people were buying, selling NFT at the time, by the way. People now know about NFT, but the whole MATIC started due to this NFT got very popular on the Ethereum chain, and it congested the Ethereum. And then I started protocol or network called MATIC. An idea was to kind of create a scaling solutions for the Ethereum, so people can go there, make faster transactions, create multiple NFTs at a time, transfer them very freely, cheaply. So yeah, so that's a story of, like, how like MATIC started. And when I started, there was a very small idea of just creating this simple scaling on top of Ethereum. I didn't think much about that. There were multiple competitors, and they were building something similar, but not tech wise, but they're trying to scale the Ethereum, but the way they were doing, I didn't like that. So I thought, if people want to if developer wants to use scaling solutions or anything, it should be better than the actual platform, right? So for example, if you are building something on banks, maybe it's faster, that's fine. But if it's better than bank, then they will come to you. Otherwise, there is no point.
Yeah.
Right? People want, yeah. So that was the idea, like, even if we provide a scale, but if it fails once in a while or it's not user friendly, then there is no point. And that's how, like, the core goal of MATIC was to kind of create a very developer friendly scaling solutions for Ethereum.
Got it. No, that's wonderful to hear, Jaynti. I think the humble beginnings and then just following your curiosity, solving problems along the way, I think you personify the entrepreneurial spirit. But it's interesting, your last train of thought, around that problem already existing. So, like, just to simplify for the audience, and if I'm not wrong, Ethereum has its scalability issues, and there can only be so much traffic that can be on that main chain, which is the problem you identified, and a lot of other people understand, and a lot of other people were trying to solve for it as well. But eventually MATIC, in its previous form, and Polygon right now, was able to crack that solution and continues to innovate on top of it. So what I want to understand from you is, what was the difference in approach? Like, if you can elaborate on what you were trying to mention, and how did you know that that's going to work? Because I'm sure that, early on, we've only now been able to recognize the success of Polygon when it's gotten considerably large. But what kept you going in this first quarter, 2 quarters, when, maybe there was not a clear-cut sign that, okay, this is going to be successful, but how did you know that your solution is going to be the one that wins? I think I'd love to know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a hunch, like, people were building UTXO based, like similar to Bitcoin tech. They were building UTXO based solution for the scaling. People are building stretch channels. Everything, like, what I will say, like, might sound a little bit technical, but it is like what it is, right? So basically, so there are different kind of solutions, and people were building, and there was hype around that, by the way. Like, this is also very interesting thing. Like, people sometimes create a very much hype around something, and it fails very, very easily, right? And then you see, like, there's a simple product, not very much hype, it works very well and can surpass everything else. And that exactly what happened with us. People were talking about Plasma, UTXO, etc. plasma caches, or roll-ups, and state channels at the time. Like state channels also very, very popular and hyped. So, and I was, to be honest, like I was not convinced with that because it's very hard to do that. Like it's very like, for example, let's say if you want to solve something, then obviously it should be better and easy than the first one, right? If you want to improve the product. And what people were doing is kind of, creating the whole system very complex. So if you want to build or scale your platform or protocol or dApps, it takes you like a months of work, right? And our goal was to kind of like use this MATIC network, and you can migrate your application from Ethereum to MATIC network in maybe 5 minutes if you're small app, and if you have a large app, you can do in 7 days, like a week or so, or 2 weeks maybe. Yeah. So that was the idea. Like that was the thing I was very curious on. Like I want to make sure like the whole developer experience should be faster, right, and easy, instead of waiting for 6 months to deploy your thing and migration, right? People won't do that, and 6 months is a huge time for crypto.
Absolutely.
So so that was the goal.
No, I get it. I think, I love the simplicity in the story, I mean, you didn't try to complicate it. You understood what you wanted. You had a hunch, you followed it, and it turned out to be so marvelous. So I think that's a great cue there. Instead of complicating things, if you can just simplify with the product as well as your mindset, I think that works brilliantly well. To build on top of that, I'm guessing that, building a global protocol from India, that was also unheard of at the time. And now we're seeing more projects come out of India. But I'm guessing there was this phenomena where, Indians, let's say in the global landscape for crypto, weren't out there, and you were the flag bearers of it. So how did you, maybe, if I can frame my question like this, is that how did you leverage the Indianness in your team to kind of build a global protocol and take it to the world?
Yeah, so we never thought this would become big, by the way. So we just started that at multiple point of time. We thought about shutting it down because we had no money. We thought about kind of migrating or pivoting that or selling that, like many point of time, by the way. So it was not clear that we will win or we will be this big at the beginning. Obviously, like no one would have thought that. And about India and the if you think about, like, we are the one of the first product company came out of India, built out of India, and became global, right? There were multiple other startups there, but they are not as global as we are. Our customers, like our developers who are building on Polygon, they are actual global. Like if you see like the news, if you go on the Polygon Twitter feed, you will know like everyone building on Polygon are also outside India. And of course there are Indian apps as well. So it was majorly about crypto thing, right? So crypto is global, right? And if you're building something in crypto, it will become global, apart from exchanges, right? Exchanges are very region focused, and there are also exchanges which are globals, like Binance and other globals. Other exchanges, they started without any on-ramp USD INR conversion. They just started with token to token first and became global, and then they kind of came back to on-ramp off-ramp USDC INR pairs. But Indian exchanges are kind of very focused on Indian market. So we are in a way, there were multiple exchanges before us, but they were Indian focused, but we are the one of the protocols started out of India, like first protocol. And then our goal was to have a global market, right? There was no India specific chain. There was no goal in my mind. Of course, we want to get people, we want people to build on Polygon, on MATIC from India, but that was not the ultimate goal, you could say. So so that was that. And crypto is basically global. So even if you build any NFT project, for example, right? NFT project in India, you mint that on Polygon or MATIC, it will become global. Anyone can anyone around the world can go on OpenSea, buy your NFT,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Got it.
So yeah, and for Indianness, I would say it helped us a lot. We are very hardworking people using it, right? We also work like 20 by 7 nowadays as well. So I'm also like working 24/7. Even sometimes I don't sleep because something is happening or etc. So that is there. I think that also helped us a lot on the global market. So yeah.
Absolutely. No, no, I love that. I think in one of the past interviews, you mentioned that, the hustle and the fact that you're so close to the project still, that kind of counts for so much. And it's great to see that, all of those traits that we've learned as a country have, marched us in the global forefront. So awesome to hear that, Jaynti. One quick question on the last part, right? You did mention that there were multiple bumps in the journey. And I'm sure you've spoken about how you had only 3 months of runway at a time. You had to do a bunch of things differently. It was not mainstream. A lot of VCs didn't understand it, whatnot. There were perhaps all odds were stacked against you, but you still made it. Can you perhaps, perhaps reflect on those pointers and help us understand what got you through those parts of the journey? What is it that, kept you going? Was it the co-founder relationships? What was it that, helped you on that pathway still when the chips were down? That'd be great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, when things are down, you look for the other things. You look for the, okay, hey, let's do that, let's do this. And of course, like, we stayed like at one point of time we decided after this date, if something money doesn't come, then we will start the service business. Okay.
Got it.
So that was the point. I remember that, we decided, okay, if this is like, if we don't get the money or we've been out of the money after this date, then we will just start something else or start, maybe we keep building this, and we also have some kind of take some client projects and build that and earn no money and put that onto the main business. So that was the goal. Sandeep and Anurag, both are my co-founders, are also kind of knew like how crypto market works, etc. So they were also full onboarded with that. We all decided, okay, if money doesn't come, we will do that. Or let's say this is not going well, so we might create something else on the product side and see like it works. So those things kind of kept coming.
Got
and we so it's situation based, right? Like, if you have something, it is not working for a longer time, you keep thinking different things.
Yeah,
it's a natural, I would say. Yeah. So but yeah, I think in the end, everything worked out, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It worked out really, really well. But it's good to see that at no point was giving up an option, considering you had that kind of faith. You were thinking of backups, you think of ways to get it done. And that's where.
So idea was to kind of, maybe let's say if this won't work, then we can kind of do something else and then pour money into this main businesses and see if it works. Maybe I was thinking maybe the whole scaling thing and the crypto thing would take 5 to 10 years to become mainstream. And it became mainstream after like one year or so, like very fast. Like now people know about, not mainstream I would say, but people know about NFTs and scaling and applications and Web3, etc. So that was that, maybe we have huge time ahead of us, so maybe we will do multiple things and keep going into the direction. Yeah, that was the idea.
Got it. I think that's what people call perseverance, and it's amazing to see how far it's come. Jaynti, this has been brilliant, and I think this sets the context right for the next part of the conversation, where I'd love to understand more around how you've gone about building the organization part of, MATIC, Polygon, and how you've gone about thinking about culture, perhaps. So if I had to start with maybe, you have a decentralized global team for working for Polygon. How did you go about establishing the first set of hires, and how do you do this now? I mean, now that the company is relatively large scale and people are aware about it, I'm guessing it's different. The challenges are a different, retention, perhaps, whatnot. And early on, it was about, selling that vision and making people believe in you. So if you can walk us through, how was the team building aspect at Polygon, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, before it was very hard to hire good people because we had no money and people were skeptical about the crypto and in general. Like people were
Right.
thinking about, okay, this MATIC is like, we never heard of that. There are other projects like 0x project and
Yeah.
other projects are very popular. Why should I join you guys where I can just go there because they are doing good, great work. Like
Yeah.
I have personally heard those excuses or
Yeah.
arguments that like that you guys are doing not you guys are not doing great on the innovation side, so why should I join you guys, like they are doing better. So and what point of time, like there were people where they said, my parents are not happy with the job, and they're not like happy that in a crypto thing, so I'm not going to join you guys. So that is there as well.
Yeah.
So but in general, people forget, that in company, if you're starting from if you are with your employer with from day one, day zero, or maybe then you would know, like how they are building, what they are doing. Maybe sometimes the things goes down, that's fine, but if you stay with them for a longer period of time, they will appreciate you, and they will, like, I mean, the whole overall system will appreciate you basically. So the thing was that in the beginning we were doing multiple things, and then the DeFi boomed into the Ethereum. So people, like few people were in the team, were also thinking about creating their own startups.
Yeah.
So that was that. So and then we had to hire new set of people, but they were all like good people, were doing some everything in DeFi, and they were not kind of keen to join any scaling companies.
Hmm.
um, so it's hard to hire, and the problem is that you can always hire web2 engineers and on board, but the problem with that is, it takes a lot of time them to learn and onboard,
Yeah.
to get onboarded, right? So, and crypto moves very fast,
Yeah.
right? So that was the very difficult thing, that you hire people from web2, and give them enough time to learn web3 and what we are doing at Polygon, and then they can start contributing to the Polygon, but it
Mhm.
takes a lot of time.
Got
So
it.
it was a difficult thing. Still, like, it's a problem, by the way. I'm not saying like it's not a problem now, but it's still a problem that web3 engineers are like percentage of total engineers would be very small for the web3.
Yeah.
So even if web2 engineers come to on the board, they have to learn faster. Sometimes people cannot do that. Sometimes where you have a huge experience on web2, and then you cannot unlearn what you learn in web2 and then go back to
Right.
your roots and learn more on web3. So those kind of things keep happening. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. No, that's important. I think the cues there are, just like hiring the people that are already a part of it and are passionate about it. In fact, why don't you perhaps continue your thought and tell us what was the ideal persona of people you were looking at? Were those people, the curious kind? Were those people hard learners, hustlers, whatnot? Like if you can maybe lay down the archetype for us as to, if you had to look for the next hire at
Sure.
Polygon, what do you look at? That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, there are two kind of people, right? One set of people who are very comfortable with their life. They
Yeah.
want, okay, I don't know if crypto goes down, I'm worried about my future career goals, career path. Those people. And there are the other people, okay, hey, if this web3 is cool, let me take deep into dive, even if I'm getting less money to start with. There is no less money, by the way, web3.
Right.
Everyone is well compensated. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
if you have that thought that, okay, if I would work for free in web3, if someone is kind of willing to give me a job, then that would be the actual ideal person, right? Obviously, you don't work for free in web3. Web3 is a lot of money
Yeah.
than compared to web2. But I'm just saying that the mindset should be like that. Even if someone is giving me zero money, I would still work in web3 and learn about blockchain and everything. I
Got
think
it.
that should be that.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'll give you my example, right? Before I started MATIC Polygon, I was also finding some other things, side projects and everything, and I also applying to multiple other companies like Stripe, Transferwise, and
Yeah.
AngelList. AngelList actually rejected me, and then there was a role called executive assistant, and I applied there, and I said, okay, I will do it for free. Just take me, just take me into this thing, because I wanted to go into the work with the people who are kind of I can learn from, right? So that was the goal. So if you have this kind of hustle, you can be anywhere else. You can do anything in Web3.
That's awesome. I think rejecting that conventional mindset and having that curiosity to learn, I think that's what I'm hearing from you. And that's just wonderful to see how, more and more people, youngsters from the country, are building such cool projects now and are really taking it big in crypto, because I think that's the best part. It flattens the world. Nobody's very experienced in crypto. Everybody starts from scratch, and that's the beauty of it. Awesome. Thanks for that, Jaynti. And, an adjoining question is, again, now that you've built an organization with multiple folks, hundreds of them, you're on the forefront of technology. And I'm guessing this is a still 10-year, decade long, more than a couple of decades long game, right? So as you continue to still innovate in the company, how are you thinking about organization building? Because is a crypto or a Web3 org different than a Web2 org? What are the core tenets of a Web3 org? How do you look at, setting the culture at Polygon and scaling it towards every part of the value chain? I think I would love to hear that, and everybody could take great cues of building like a large scale Web3 company.
Sure. Currently our team is very decentralized. Our people, like most people, are in US, Serbia, Europe, like Europe thing, and we just hire one person from Canada. We have people in South Africa, India, Dubai, and on Japan, Singapore, so everywhere, right? So and with that, the thing happened, we never wanted to have that kind of decentralized team, but you have to in Web3, because everyone, you cannot find people in one region, and that actually forced us to become decentralized. Right. So there was no like actual goal, okay, now going forward we will just go with the decentralized. That was not the idea or goal to start with, but it's like, no, people are, there is a good person is in US, let's hire them. If someone is good in Japan, let's hire them. So that was the goal. There was no, and COVID hit, because due to COVID as well, like, we became decentralized and remote. So I think that everything was aligned, I would say, for us.
Got it. No, that's very helpful. But when you have such a decentralized org, Jaynti, like, what do you do as a leader to keep everybody in sync with the mission? And how do you look at the other technologies? I mean, what can we see from Polygon in the next 5 years, perhaps? How do you stay on top of your game? Because I'm sure that, scaling was one part of it. And there are so many up and coming technologies that Polygon is building. Concerning that, how do you make sure everybody's innovating? Would love to know that.
Yeah, I mean, there are multiple things right there. So first of all, tech innovation, scaling came, channel came, then side chain like us came, and then rollups and ZK rollup, zero knowledge proof came, and Solana, and then Avalanche and sharding came, ETH 2.0 came. So people are thinking like, multiple kind of solutions, right? Maybe some people say, okay, monolithic L1 like Solana would be better. Some people say, okay, that's not going to work because it is not enough for everyone. So let's do the sharding. So we have multiple things, multiple chains. Like we have like more multiple chains. We will have multiple chains, right? People can also create their own chain by using the Polygon SDK, and then in the future they will also have a ZK rollups. So how we were thinking is that, is to see how, like, what blockchain would look like after 2-3 years, right? People were like, if you think about 2017, no one knew like there was sharding, or people were talking about sharding, but not as much as they are talking right now. But people were not thinking about multi-chain, multiverse of chains, right? There was no metaverse, etc. Obviously there was metaverse, but let's not go there. But yeah, I mean, people were thinking about that if one chain will solve everything, but now perspective has changed. narrative has changed. People know like what is working, what is not working. Same for us. Like we also thought like this would be better, but it didn't work so far. And now we are seeing people are creating their own chains. People started creating their own chains. And then there was Solana, right, where people are just putting everything on the chain. But I don't know like how far it's going to work. So so we kept seeing all the trends and the tech, and we found that ZK, zero knowledge based tech or scaling, it's still not there yet. Like people are still building, but once it's there, it will be killer for everything. And that's where we put our money there. I think if we are putting $1 billion into the ZK. Yeah, in ZK. So we acquired a bunch of like 2-3 companies there in the ZK, and innovating there. And down the line, we are looking into the stateless blockchains where you don't put everything on the blockchain. You just compute there and then store some state there directly or hash there instead of putting all the data. So those kind of innovation we keep doing, like doing that. And of course, like even I don't know what is going on in the ZK. By the way, like there was a separate team, multiple teams. There are separate teams. Then each teams are doing ZK based scaling in different way. It was very hard, as a one person you cannot learn everything. We just need to have a good people with you who are learning, doing, implementing POCs for you.
Got it. No, that's fantastic to hear. And I think the key part there is just when you mentioned we ask ourselves what the blockchain is going to look like in 3 years, just like asking yourself what the future looks like, and instead of being a part of it, making it perhaps. I think that's the ambitious goal there, and that's what I took back from that. But this has been fantastic. And as we move on to, perhaps closing parts, I mean, the one question everyone has, and, let's say non-technical people, all the more have, is how will, let's say Web3 become mainstream? And if you had any views to share in terms of, how everyone who can become a part of it, like how do you look at personally the future? I mean, not just from a Polygon perspective or not just from an ecosystem perspective, how do you look at tech moving in the next decade or so? I think hearing from you would be great. And how do you see mass consumption of it would be wonderful.
Yeah, so I will just give you multiple examples. Even if you, for example, like even if you are not in Web3, how it would affect you in the future. Absolutely. And how it will improve your life. So there's a project called Mohesh who are doing trader finance. What they're doing is that they're bringing money from outside India, from lenders, and doing borrows into like giving them on the lower interest to SMEs in India. And by doing that, currently, if you do trader finance, it is very high interest rate for SMEs. But after this, because sorry, money is very fairly available outside India, so the pool has increased. So interest will go down for them. Okay. So even if they don't know where the money is coming, they will get the lower interest rate, right? So for them, it's win. For the SMEs, if they want to borrow money with less interest rate, it's great for them, even if they are not in Web3. Yeah. For the artists, right? For the art, take example of artists. They are creating the art. Now they can sell outside India, anywhere in the world, even if they are, or for the small town of Tamil Nadu. Yeah. Right? If they're creating great art in some village, they can sell it on the internet, on NFTs or on the marketplaces outside India to anyone. And whenever the person sells that to another person, they will get the commissions or the loyalty on that. So that is beautiful concept, right? Yeah. Even if people don't know about that, it will change people's life. Yeah. Right. If before people were sending money, if your family member was working outside India, somewhere in the maybe Middle East or in the US or Canada, if they are sending you money, you will get the less money than you would expect, like because of the cut and multiple other things in between. Yeah. But crypto, very fast, 5 seconds, you will reach the money
Yeah.
Those things people won't realize until kind of you see and thought about, we think about it, right?
Yeah.
So I think those things will change the industry, the market, and everything going forward. I think I'm very hopeful that with metaverse as well, like metaverse now like becomes so easy. Like, see, metaverse also become popular due to COVID, right?
Yeah.
People were not meeting people, other people, not traveling enough, and not going out enough.
Yeah.
So metaverse became very kind of very important part of our lives. Will become a part of our lives.
Yeah.
That people go there, meet people, own things, NFTs. They will kind of hang some NFTs over the walls on the metaverses. Those kind of things. Now multiple big brands are also collaborating with the NFTs. For example, Adidas is doing the Prada on NFTs.
Yeah.
They're on, by the way, in Polygon. So those type kind of things will keep happening, and it will, I think, it will give something to some powers to back to the users directly with NFTs and arts and the DeFi and the blockchain in general.
Got it. No, that's very reassuring to hear. And I love the fact that, with decentralization, lives can change. And that's what's happening across. And in 10 years, we'll be able to see more of an impact of that. So amazing to hear that, Jaynti. Yeah. Moving ahead, this is one important question. I'd love to hear your thought. But in 2017, when you started MATIC, as you mentioned, right, the expectations were to go through with this, but you didn't know how big it'll become. And when we look at maybe 5 years down the line now, it would be safe to say that life has changed for you, at least in the quantifiable external sense of it, right? But if you can give us a deep dive into what has changed for you internally, how have you transformed through this journey of building such an innovative organization in the global spectrum in a very futuristic technology space? I think that would be great. How has Jaynti of 2016 grown to become the Jaynti of 2020? I would love to hear that, and how that founder journey has turned out to be for you. That'll be great.
Yeah. So I think for me personally, nothing changed. Like obviously, like my thought process has changed. The way I work has changed, because before there was no responsibility of
Yeah.
talking with someone or telling someone to something. There is no repercussion
Yeah.
on top of that. Now, like when I say something, it has value. Like it basically
Yeah.
people take it seriously outside Polygon or inside Polygon, anywhere, right? So it becomes a little bit different than I was in 2016 for sure. But still, like I try to be as transparent, as fun as possible as I was in 2016, 17, and try to do the same things. So I think obviously I learned a lot during the whole period. That sometimes, like one thing I learned, that sometimes something is right, or good choice, good decisions that's in some time, it's at some point of time would be the bad decision at different point of time. It's very very hard to kind of judge on the decision basically. So I think apart from that, there are many lessons I learned, but yeah, I think this is a different topic for other time.
Sure. No, I think that's wonderful to hear. What I take back from there is fundamentally you're the same person. I'm sure the responsibility is risen, but that's the good part to hear. Next up, another great thing is, of course, when you're managing a lot of people, when you have such responsibility, as a leader, you have to make so many decisions, right? One thing I love to ask founders is if you have any principle for decision making, right? Like, do you look at the short run? Do you look at the long run? How do you map objectives? All of that. So in an abstract form, I'd love to know from you if you have any decision-making framework, and how do you perhaps, lay down your thought process for us?
Yeah, for me personally, like I see two things. Like, let's say if you want to do something in a longer run, but in crypto, longer run is a lot of time.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared for the short term as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes you kind of play something in the short term, and then kind of bet on the longer term. right? So suppose it's ZK, right? ZK is our long-term bet. But what will happen is that our goal is like very, very far away on what we want to build on the ZK side. We want to go stateless and everything, but it's far away. But for now, we just simple with go with the rollups plus avail. Little bit technical. I'm just giving you this short overview of what we are doing. So short term, we will go there, build that, launch it, let people use that, etc. And then we learn from that and go beyond for this longer term. So I think it depends on a decision by decision, like how we want to think about that. How everything will fall out in the place in a shorter term, longer term. What will happen if this don't work, that don't work? What will be your backup, etc. So everything is basically very contextual and
of course,
based on but yeah, definitely, like you need to do both the things. Sometimes you just focus on the long term and then you lose on the shorter term, but then sometimes the longer term goal won't work, then you are stuck sometimes. So those kind of things you need to figure out when you're playing long term and short term both.
Makes sense. No, makes complete sense. I'm sure it's very contextual considering the scale at which you're operating, but it's good to know that you have to do those short things that keep compounding towards the longer term. So I'll take back that. Further, the second last question, Jaynti, is that how do you perhaps, sorry about that, how do you perhaps, let's say, have a support system around you? Because I'm sure that this is not like a lone journey, right? Like it takes a village to build a company, especially the kind that Polygon is building. So what is your support network like? Do you often have, founder friends? Do you have a bunch of advisors? Do you have a bunch of friends? Do you have, you're very close to your co-founders? If you can lay that down for us, that'd be great to hear.
So I mean, Sandeep and I and Anurag are very close, and we talk sometimes random stuff over the weekend. So that's a very powerful thing to have, by the way, when you are when you're down, right? Apart from that, I have many founders and friends I have who are supporting me, family, of course. So I mean, definitely family, friends, and founders network those are very, very helpful during this journey.
Got it. No, that makes complete sense. For the last question, Jaynti, and this has been absolutely fantastic. I would love to know on a generic way as to, where does all of this love for, let's say, entrepreneurship and love for building and what you're doing on a day-to-day basis with MATIC, where does it all compound towards? I mean, what's that one end goal, if you can lay it down for us? I don't mean to get, too philosophical in nature, but if you can lay it down for us as to what is the satisfaction you derive out of building Polygon, I think that'd be great for all youngsters listening to you, because I think what you've been able to achieve at this point is absolutely inspirational, and to understand where it all compounds towards will be the silver lining.
So before Polygon, I was also kind of building side projects and making it work. And when people use that, it gives you different kind of feelings you cannot express, right? It's like having a baby, right? I have a daughter, 2 years of old daughter, and when you see her, you feel happiness. I don't know how, but it just feels great. Like when she comes to you, like when you play with her, like balloons and everything. So I don't know, like you play balloons with her, like you feel great about everything in general in life. Like it just it comes naturally, right? So similar part, when you're building something, and people are using that, building on top of that, raising money, creating profitable business, and making other people giving jobs. It gives you kind of some kind of satisfactions in life. Okay, you did something in your life, and you're not just wasted your shitty life. So I think that's a thing.
No, that's beautiful to hear. I think that could have been the best end I could have asked for. It's just the magic of creation, I'd say, and the satisfaction that comes along with it. And as you mentioned, that anecdote of your daughter and equating what you've built with Polygon to your daughter. That's just an amazing anecdote for us to understand. So thanks for sharing that, Jaynti, and thanks for being such a candid self of yours. I think I've learned so much and I enjoyed this chat thoroughly. I hope you did as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.